Hey, what's up? What's up? My name is Bill, and I appreciate y'all coming to the channel and watching this video. If you find something that you enjoy on this video, or something that maybe you didn't realize that you knew, or something new or something different, I appreciate you giving me a thumbs up and a like, and subscribe to my channel. But I'm going to kind of give you a few shorter videos of Lightburn, and I'm using the 1.7.00 version of the Lightburn. And I'm going to go over just kind of the basics of this left side panel. So we're going to kind of go over it now real quick, give you the things that I use of them and the things that you're able to do with them. So if you think this is something that you want to see, go ahead and stick around. All right, here we go. First one is your selector tool. Obviously, you need to have that if you're going to, select anything. Now, you just saw in here where I left click and I drug it to the left and it turned that green. Now I can come to the right and it's going to turn it red. Now, this is your selector tool. If you are just touching this, it will not select it. If you left click, drag it to the right, you have to actually totally enclose that image that you're trying to select. And then if you let go of it, now it'll select that image. It did not select the square because the square was not it was not totally selected on it. So we're going to go back here, and I'll do it again. If you go over these, the square and the circle, and you let go, it's going to select the square and circle. It's going to leave the polygon alone. Now, if you go from right to left and you touch that polygon and let go, it's going to select that. Anything that it touches going from right to left, it will select it. So you see you're not all the way surrounding the circle or the square. If you let go, it is still going to select them because you went from right to left. Like I said, if you go from left to right, you have to totally enclose it. The only one that's totally enclosed now is the polygon, and that's the only one that it will select. Okay, you have your pencil tool here. If you come down with your pencil tool and you left click and you come across, if you stay straight on that line, you'll see it stays. Let me zoom in a little bit. You'll see where it stays pretty well straight on the line. If you hold the shift key down, it's going to straighten that line out for you. We'll come up and hold shift, and you see it pop it, snap it right into the straight line. Now you can click that, left click it, you can come across, click it, and it's going to put that in a straight line. If you hold it in, then you can spin it and you can turn it. If you are at the end of what you wanted to draw, if you right click, it gets rid of that. So you just got to remember, if you hold the shift, it's going to put them in the straight lines. When you get to the end of the line that you're done, all you have to do is right click and it'll get rid of it. Now we're going to hit our selector tool again, and we're going to delete that line. All right, the next thing you have is a square. You click and hold, left click and hold, bring it down, and you want it to be a perfect square. So you hold the shift key and it makes that into a perfect square as well. Let go of the left click and it puts it in a perfect square for you. And you can do another one and it'll be a perfect square. Circle, same thing with a circle. You can draw your circle, have it perfect. Polygon, same thing. Hold shift, bring it down, and it's going to keep that polygon in a perfect shape. Remember, selector tool, drag from the left to the right, it's going to turn green. Anything it touches, it will highlight, and now we can delete those. All right, next thing down is node editing, which we're going to go over that here in just a minute. And the next one down after that's going to be your scissors. What you can do with the scissors, you click on it. Now you can come in here and you can see you can trim away lines that are inside images. So if you want to get rid of this line, you left click, it gets rid of it. You want to get rid of this line, you can left click, it'll get rid of it. This one you can get rid of, you can get rid of that one there. So that's just going to give you an image of maybe what you're looking for in your design that you're trying to draw. Remember up here you got your backspace, your undo button. You can go back until all the way to the beginning of when you first started your project. And you can also go forward up until the last point that you had. You can't go past any more of this because that is the future. The text feature on this side panel. You go in here and you type test, and you type test again. Now, if you click the test, you can have it in either bold, uppercase, or lowercase. but it's not going to change it because I actually typed it in uppercase. So if I come down here and I click right here and I make sure my caps is off on my keyboard and I hit test, it's going to put it in uppercase because I have it clicked as uppercase. But if I unclick it, it's going to drop it down. So you have to be careful with what you have with the uppercase and lowercase. So you can actually adjust it as you go. Bold, welded, italic, and distort. Welded is a pretty good feature on this right here. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's checked. And I'm going to click on my selector tool. And under the welded, I want to look at this little circle right here. If I click left click and hold that, I can bring that up. Now, as soon as those lines start to touch and merge and you let go, it is going to weld them all together. Instead of having to go over here to your weld feature, it actually does it for you. And then if you go back the other way, it's going to unweld them. That's a really nice feature in that. So if you're trying to get those to where they're welded, then you can have that. The other way is if you're H-space and you go in, if you touch it this way, you can see it's automatically welding those together. And again, if you go back the opposite way, it's going to unweld them. So that's a real nice feature with it. And you have your V space and your H space. That's pretty much going to have to do with when you have two different text lined up in that. So if I put that down to 0, you see it's going to spread it way far apart. If I click both of these again, actually, let me bring this down to here. Now, if I shift, click the second one, you see it's going to move them to where you want them to go. And then you have your vertical space, horizontal space. It's going to spread them apart, and it's going to bring them in. So you can adjust the width of the fonts and all that. And like I said, you have uppercase, you have lowercase, and you have bold and italic. Italic is going to shift it over. Bold is not italic, is going to keep it straight up. All right, let's get rid of all of this. Now, if you come down here to this O right here, we're going to put a box, and we're going to make it right there. And now we're going to hit the selector tool, select it, and then we're going to hit the offset. What that is, that's called offset. And what you have is you have outward, inward, and both. Now, if you want to draw another box around that, you just click that O and you hit outward. And you can have it to whatever size you want. So you can change that to 5, for instance, and it's going to put a 5mm space between those two lines. If you want to go inwards, you click inward, and it's going to put that, it's going to shift it inward. If you want both, you can click both. And you can also come over here and click the delete original object. So that one that is dancing dashes, you can go ahead and click OK, and it is actually going to delete that. So that's going to leave you a border. Let's say you're doing a picture frame, you want a border around it. That's how you can do a border for around a picture frame. I mean, there's other ways. You can hit one square and then go out and make the other square, make it a little bit bigger. But that's offset is absolutely the easiest way for me. Let's undo. And let's draw a circle. Hold shift, make it perfect. Now let's go to the offset fill. You can see it again. You have the inward, outward, and both. Let's go ahead and cancel that. Right click and delete. Now we're going to draw another box. Now let's do a polygon. We're going to make it a perfect size. Hold shift. Now, the other thing you can do with offset fill, let's change this to, we'll go to 3 this time. And we're going to go outward. And you have this column right here. What this column is here is you have round, beveled, and corner. Right now it's on corner, so it's going to look exactly like the one that's on the inside. If you go beveled, it's actually going to put a little bevel mark on it. It's going to come to this point, come straight across to this point, and then straight across. If you do a round, it's going to obviously make it a round. And it's going to do that for all the corners on that. They're all going to be rounded. All right, that's it for that right now. And let's go ahead and hit our selector tool. All right, if you have this image and you have a square and you have a circle, you have your weld features over here. Those are the ones that I don't use because I don't ever remember which feature does. So the way I do it is I'll select the two that I want to do, because you can only do two at a time. Hit the selector tool, right click, and delete that little circle. The way I do it is I'll select these two images here, Control and B. That's going to bring up the Boolean assistant. Now what's nice with this is you can actually see what each one of those welded features does. So you can have, oh, that's not what I want, that's not what I want. Yeah, I like that. That's what I'm looking for. And no, that's not what I want. So I want this one here, A subtract B. So you can go ahead and hit OK. Now, you can go ahead and highlight this one with it. And you can go back to Control B. And you can go through these to see which one it is you're looking for with this. Okay, that's what I'm looking for there. Click it and hit OK. Now, the other thing, you can only do welded on two different shapes at one time. So you cannot select all of these, and you won't be able to do Control B. It just will not allow you to do it. You can only do two shapes at one time. So let's say you want these two shapes to be what they are. You highlight those two. You come up and you click the group button right here on the top. And again, we'll touch more of that on the next video. But I want you to be able to group those images there. So that makes both of those images one image. Now, if you hold Control, see, I'll show you. If you click out of it, go in here, you'll see it highlights both of those images. Now you hit Shift and the square. Now you can Control B for Boolean. And you can select what it is you're looking for with that one. And you can click that one. That's the one you want. You can go ahead and click OK. Now, if you wanted this to be different, you just got to highlight it, and you got to come up here and hit that little man, and that's ungroup. Now, you go Control B. Now you can do the Boolean, and you can pick which one that it is that you want. Control B, and you can go through them, and you can pick whichever one that it is that you do want to see. So we can do this. Yep, that's what we're looking for. Click it and hit OK. You can do them over here, but I go through the Control B. That's just, to me, much easier. All right. Now, we're going to go on this one down here is the radius. You got your image highlighted. Now you click the radius. And we have a radius at 1 millimeter. If I come up to this corner here and I double click it, it's going to round that corner. It's going to put a radius on that corner. I can radius this one. I can radius this one. And you can go about so on and so on. You can radius all the ones you want. And if you want this other one to be 3, you can come over here and you can click 3. And it'll radius that one 3. So, I mean, you can change each one that you have on there. Okay. This is the big one I'm going to kind of go over. This will be the final of what we go over on this side here. These two arrays here, they are a little bit tougher, and there's a lot more you can do with them, so that would be its own separate video. Now, node editing is a lot with it too, but we're going to go over some of the features that you have. Remember I said if you hover over it, it's going to tell you what each one is. Under the node editing, you have an S, L, C, D, I, M, B, T, E, and A. S is smooth, L is line, C is curved, and you see what the rest of them are. Now, that has to do with all your nodes that you have here. If you had this grouped, if this was grouped, then you would not be able to go to the node editing. So if you selector tool, hit a box, and you click that selector tool, and you select both of these, and you group them, you cannot go into node editing. It just will not allow you to do it. You have to have them ungrouped. So you're going to leave that box where it is, selector tool, click this one, ungroup it, And now you can just highlight that one there, and this one here can stay what it is. Now under the node editing, if I click the node editing, you'll see you got all these little boxes. And all these little boxes are little nodes, and they all do certain things. Now, I'm going to hit, remember we had over here M for insert node at midpoint? You can be anywhere on this line. If you hit M, it's going to put a node right in the middle. Or you can come over here and hit I, wherever you want to put that node, and it's going to put that node where you have it. Let's put a node there, and we're going to put one in the middle here. All right. Now, with these nodes, you can select them, and you can move them independently of each other. Or you can select multiples, highlight them, get them red, and you can slide those, manipulate those to however you want those to be. The other thing you can do, if you come over here, you add S for smooth, L for line, and C for curve. If I click on this one right here, click off them, click on this, and hit S, you see it's going to make that a rounded node. And you have your lines that you can go around and you can change them and manipulate them any way you want to. Now, over here, you remember we saw the C for corner? If you come over here and you click this and you hit C on your keyboard, now watch what happens. It only moves one side at a time. So you can manipulate this side and then come over and manipulate this side to however it is you want it. You can make them longer, you can bring them down, however it is you're looking for. So that's a pretty neat thing under node editing. Node editing is real powerful, and you can do a lot of stuff with this. You can also click this, hit B for break, and you can break them apart. And you can also bring them back together. And you also have T is trim. That is the same thing as what these scissors are. So that's how we used to have to do it. Now with that icon, now it makes it a lot easier. And we have D for delete. We can actually delete this node right here. Hit it red, hit D, and it will delete it. So that's kind of a touch on the node editing. If you didn't want this to be a curve anymore, you click it and you hit L, and it's going to make it into a line again. It's going to take that curve out and make it into a line again. So those are things you can do with it. And once you have an image up on there, let's say you're dealing with, let me go over here to Bass. We'll click this in here. And let me make that a red layer so I can see what I'm doing. You see all those nodes. If you're looking here like, oh, I didn't want all these nodes right here, you can actually left click, bring it down, and select all those nodes. Now, you know you clicked another one here, so if you hold shift and click it, control and click it. All right, the new version is not allowing me to do that. All right, so we can highlight all those, hit D, and now come in here and highlight all those and hit D. Now you just deleted that part of the image out of there. So, and you can also take these nodes and you can make them bigger. If you wanted it bigger, you can curve them. This is a corner one. If you want it to be smooth, you click that and you hit S, and it makes it smooth so that now they're both working together. If you wanted it C like it was, you select it, hit C, and it's going to make it to where one side moves. Let me do it again. C, one side moves, the other side does not. You can also, like we did, put an M in the middle for a node, and you can manipulate that node as well too. So that node editing is real important. And when you get these images and you have things that you want to delete and things you want to get rid of, and you want to make this a little wider, you can just always go in there and you can manipulate that. Let's go ahead and hit Control A and delete on my keyboard and get rid of everything on that screen. That was Control and A. That selects everything on your screen. All right, I think that's going to be it for today. That's a good little starter point. I'm going to come up with another video here again in a day or two or three, and I'll go over some more of the other basics. I'm going to probably do this upper line right here, and I'm going to probably do this upper line here, and I'll show you some of the features of this one here. And you also can use some of these with that upper line. They all work together, but when you're doing some of these will also be affected with it as well. So that's it for today. I appreciate your you're stopping in and watching the video and checking it out. And like I said, if you enjoyed it and you learned a thing or two, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and give me a subscription. I would really appreciate it. I'm just starting this channel out, and the more I get, of course, the better it's going to be for me. So I appreciate your time, and drop a few things in there. Let me know if there's something you're want a little question on a little bit more. I can go over a little bit more, but that's just the basics of what it is. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. All right. Thank you much. Have a good one.